Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Destroy Duchenne podcast. My name is Stacy. I'm the founder of the nonprofit organization Destroy Duchenne and the host of the Destroy Duchenne podcast. Today, we have with us.
Oh, you want me to?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I am Deniz Eskisan. I am a 22-year-old man living with Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, and I live in the UK. And I know Elijah from Destroy Duchenne, and I wanted to join his podcast because I think they're great. And yeah, that's basically me and my little introduction.
Awesome. So, thank you so much for coming on. And, as you
Okay.
just mentioned, you're from the UK. So, this is a first. This is the first person that we're having on the podcast that's from the UK. So, that's pretty cool. Um, so, you mentioned that you're 22 years old and then you have Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Before we get into Duchenne today, I want to get into you and what you like to do and stuff. So, tell us about yourself. Like, what are your hobbies? Let's start with that. What do you like to do for fun?
Um, I don't know if it's a hobby, but I'm a TikToker. So if anyone watching this recognizes me from there, because I have some US viewers as well, because I can see from the what's it called, analytics.
Mhm.
So yeah, I make TikTok videos on fashion, disability, mental health, and lots of different things. And in the mental health side, I, share my medication journey. So I've been sharing my antidepressant journey that I've recently started. And then I'm also hobby wise, I like doing art, painting, embroidery. I'm actually an artist, but I do more photography and like self portraits, and I run my own website and discuss a lot of things like mental health, again, body image, and among other things. I'm really into fashion. I'm currently studying a master's degree in applied psychology and fashion. So it's basically applying psychology into the fashion industry. And I've got a previous degree in psychology as well. Um, and that's an undergrad degree. What else do I like? I like music, so I like singing, and I really like fashion and stuff. I don't think they're like kind of hobbies, but like their interests more.
Oh no,
Um,
definitely.
Reading, learning, I have lots of different hobbies. But yeah, those are a selection of my favorites.
Oh, that's really cool. I think from just the start of this, right, and really because I follow you on social media too. But you seem to be a person that deeply cares about other people, and that you want to help other people. And so I kind of want to get more into the mental health aspect, if you're cool with that, because I think, um, I don't know, I just think that's fascinating that you go and you share stuff. So what do you do to help out with that or to talk about it? Like, what do you talk about in particular when it pertains to mental health?
So I'm very, very, very open with my mental health, and a lot of people are surprised by that. And I think it's been a journey. At first, I was very reserved, and I didn't want to talk about some of the things that I've been through because they're very hard hitting subjects. So it wasn't easy at the beginning, but because I've been around so much things related to mental health, whether that is seeing relatives or loved ones go through severe mental illness, and so many different things I've experienced. I think at the beginning it was very hard, so I'm very open with my mental health, and I talk about all sorts of things. And I think, yeah, my story isn't very easy, but I think I should just do like a little summary. These are things that I always discuss anyway. But so just a little background of me. So obviously I've got Duchenne, which is a muscle wasting condition. I live with my mum, and my father lives in a care home because he overdosed on heroin after his father had passed away 15 years ago. So he's paralyzed and lives in a care home. Um, so that's the first experience I've had with mental health. Um, and that was like the biggest thing that still affects us now. And then obviously I've been through bullying since I was in primary school, which is I think kindergarten in the US, and then high school I was also bullied. So secondary school, I was verbally and physically bullied. I've witnessed relatives and close ones go through severe mental health and mental illness, and witness people be sectioned. So those were very traumatic growing up, and that obviously when you have Duchenne, um, when you're young, you can walk, you can do all sorts of things, accepting eventually losing the ability to walk, all the stresses of that. So when I was like in secondary school, I ended up with really bad depression and anxiety, and I was also going through like domestic abuse and stuff, and it was really, really difficult. So I started being really depressed, and that led to me starting to self-harm and dealing with really bad suicidal thoughts. And for so long it went without my mum noticing, and obviously she's my main carer, so I was very good at hiding it, and eventually it got so bad that I couldn't hide it. And once I went a bit too much, and it was just something I can hide. And then that's when I think that's the part when I started opening up. So I called my mum one day when it was quite serious. I called my mum. She saw. We were both upset. Naturally she was angry. We talked through it, and then she was very supportive. And after that day, I stumbled across Demi Lovato and her story, because she has also battled with addiction and self-harm and stuff. And after seeing her, and obviously with my mum's support, I started learning to love myself and finding healthier ways. And then I went to therapy when I was quite young, and then I stopped. And then now I'm left with depression, anxiety. I've got symptoms of PTSD, which I'm actually waiting to see a psychologist for trauma-based therapy, which I'm still waiting for. And like symptoms of OCD, so very bad intrusive thoughts. And so, that's basically everything I've been through, and that's obviously led to a lot of things that I'm dealing with even today. At the beginning, I never wanted antidepressants because, I've got background with psychology, and I was just very, I would say I was just not very wanting to have medication because I was worried about the side effects and stuff. But, eventually I was like, you know what, I need to try it and see what it will be like. And I think it's one of the best decisions I've ever made, because, and I started sharing that on TikTok. And on TikTok, I wasn't showing my mental health journey that much. And then I opened up and started getting a lot of support. And then I was like, you know what, let me just share my antidepressant journey. So I started recording every day of me taking it. And, eventually I started getting so much support, and people messaging me, telling me how much I've helped them and how much I've inspired them to start seeking help and getting support. And then, I've been doing videos where I was eating in front of a camera, and I've been helping people with eating disorders, and just knowing that just really kept me going. And so, yeah, that's basically my mental health journey at the moment. So I've had a few blocks of CBT, so cognitive behavioral therapy, which is like a form of talking therapy. But yeah, currently I've been obsessed, so I'm just waiting to see a psychologist. And I think when I start really addressing my trauma and stuff, I think that's when I can really heal. But I'm going to be sharing that with TikTok and with all the social media world. And sometimes it's hard. You do get judged, and you do get these odd comments. But I think ultimately it's good to share my journey, because I've been through so many different things, and I know that my story will help others. And I've suffered in silence for so long, and what I'm trying to do right now is to tell other people, like, you don't need to suffer in silence. You don't need to do what I did. You can get the support, and it's not a bad thing to take medication if you need it. And we shouldn't stigmatize and marginalize and like taboo mental health, because we don't ignore our physical health. So why would we ignore our mental health? And I think a lot of boys with Duchenne also struggle with their mental health, because it is very heavy. It is a life-threatening condition, and ultimately, like we don't know what our future holds, but also we know the reality of what will eventually happen. And I think it's important that I share my journey with my limited time I'm here. And I think everyone has a purpose in life and everyone's here for a reason. And I think my purpose and the reason why I've gone through all of this is to help others. And yeah, so that's basically my mental health story. It's like a whole train wreck and such a heavy story. So I do understand that, like being like first hearing things like this, it kind of is difficult. But I think it's important to be open. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. So nicely.
Well, yeah. So, well, thank you for sharing that. That's some really powerful stuff. And really what a lot of things have crossed my mind when hearing that. But one of the key things that I've heard is, and it's really a key theme of Destroy Duchenne, and really my life personally, is to turn your suffering into um, a way to help minimize other people's suffering, right? You want to use your suffering to empower others, and that's what it sounds like you're doing, and that's really incredible. I think something that I'm interested in from a business side of things is so you always hear people say, well, you have to find your niche or whatever. You must stick to this, you must stick to this. It sounds like you're in quite a lot of them. You're in fashion, on TikTok in particular. You're in fashion, you're in mental health, you're in disability inclusion, and all these different things. So how do you feel that your audience has reacted to all those from a business point of view? Like, does it work, or is it kind of, you know what I mean?
I think it is helped, and it helps a lot of people, but not everybody is here for it. And um a lot of the time, because it's so stigmatized and not talked about, people think that a lot of people are doing it for attention, and what they say, clout chasing. But I've been through so much difficult stuff. Why would anyone make things up like that? You get what I mean?
Mm.
Living with Duchenne is very hard, and you can't make that up, and you can't make up the things that you've been through, especially when there are things as serious like that. And um, because I, as a family, we're very, my sister's got 2 degrees in psychology as well, so I've been inspired by her a lot to enter the mental health field. And when you study psychology, you understand how everything works, and what you are going through. And a lot of the people who do study psychology, eventually they most not most people, but a lot of people are open with their mental health when you understand it so much, and the struggle. When you know what it's like, you don't want other people to go through that. And I'm kind of a selfless person, so i I am used to putting others first. And I do put myself first as well in my mental health, which is what I'm doing now, but more often. But I think I'm very humanitarian and very selfless, and I get that from my mum. She just likes helping people, and been inspired by her because I've been raised by her. My dad has been absent for most of my life because of his overdose. He lives in a care home, and I think part of it comes down to being raised by my mum. I think she's very empathetic and compassionate, um, and just a very someone who just advocates to help people. And I think because I've gotten that from her, I think that's what really drives me to help people and want to do this and share my journey, because I don't want others to go for it. And yeah, like I do get comments where people do leave hate comments, and sometimes I do lose some followers, especially when I was doing like body image posts. It was like me topless and saying that every body type is beautiful. And not everyone understands the Duchenne perspective, because with Duchenne we don't have muscle; it gets replaced by fat cells. And whatever size we are, it will look like we're like. I like to call myself like a jelly monster, because like before I was like when I weighed less, I look the same as when I weigh the same now. And I think ultimately, whatever whatever size you are, it doesn't matter. Everyone is beautiful, but a lot of people don't know like the Duchenne part. Do you get what I mean? Like a lot of boys have scoliosis, so that naturally changes the shape of my body. We sit down all the time. That changes your body shape. I've had to have an emergency bowel operation where they thought I had an obstruction, but there wasn't. They found nothing. But I've got a scar on my stomach because of that, and I think it's really hard because not everyone likes to see that. But I'm just trying to show that everybody is beautiful, and the reality is not everyone is going to have a perfect abs body, and it's not going to be perfect like you see in the magazines. And I want to challenge that, and I want to show people that everyone is beautiful. But yeah, like when I posted that, I lost a lot of followers, and I think it's hard, but yeah, it does help people, and it does it is something helpful for a lot of people. But like I said, with everything good, there's always a negative. But the best you can do is to just keep doing what you love and what you think is right, because there will always be people who will say something. There will always be people who will hate, and that's up to them. The best thing you can do is to just be compassionate towards them and show understanding, because we don't know what people have been going through, and it doesn't give an excuse. But because I'm so compassionate, I'm very forgiving and merciful, so I just give everyone the benefit of doubt and just carry on doing what I do.
I like that last part a lot. That's I think we need more of that, right? People need to be more merciful towards others and forgiving and give people the benefit of the doubt, not just assume everybody is a devil, right? I think that in today's culture, at least in American culture, I don't know about in the UK, but I assume it's probably the same. Um, Everyone is just so cynical of everybody, and if they do one thing, they just assume that they're the worst person, and we
Mm.
can't forgive them, and they're terrible, and we hate them, and it's like, no, like that's not. What does that do? That doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help anybody. Yeah. Um. So, do you have any role models in life? I know you mentioned your mom, but would you, like any people that you look up to, maybe in the fashion industry? I don't know. Is there any people that you role model?
Well, there's two very big fashion models who are disabled. One is called Gillian Mercado, and she also suffers from a form of muscular dystrophy. And she's signed to IMG Models, which is one of the biggest in the world. Um, and it's incredible. And I think she's very inspiring. And then there's another trans model called Aaron Phillips, who was on the cover of Moschino, which is a huge luxury fashion company. And seeing a disabled person in an electric wheelchair on the cover of Moschino. Gillian was on Teen Vogue, the cover of it, which is one of my dreams is to be on the Vogue magazine eventually.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, seeing them, they are huge role models for me, and they really inspire me. There's also a TikToker called Eden Harvey who I was inspired by to do the Eat With Me videos. And there was another girl, but I don't know her name. Originally, I was inspired by her, but then yeah, so there's a girl called Eden Harvey who's doing very well and is very inspirational. And then other people is, I would say, Billie Eilish, because she's been through a lot of things. Obviously, Demi Lovato, like I mentioned. Um, she's also she also recently it was all over the news. She dealt with a heroin overdose, but she was lucky. My dad wasn't as lucky, but after hearing that, it's drawn me to her even more, because she understands what it is like, and I could relate to her so much, and I think she's very inspirational. Also, Lady Gaga, who also survived sexual assault and has gone through PTSD all her life, and those people are just so inspirational. And obviously Oprah Winfrey, she's been through so many different things, um, and those people are, I would say, my biggest role models. And also my sister, she's also a very strong person. I think she gets that from my mum, but yeah, she done 2 degrees with when she was pregnant to another child when she had a 1 year old. And yeah, she gives me so much inspiration as well. But yeah, they're my biggest role models, I would say.
Okay, awesome, 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 very cool. Um, any favorite foods?
Oh, I love some sushi. It's got to be dripping with soy sauce. Love it.
Yes.
Salmon are my favorite. Salmon is my favorite. I love a good miso soup, which is also quite nice. I love a lot of Japanese cuisine.
Mm.
I eat a lot of. Most of the time, I eat home cooked Turkish food, like traditional Turkish food, not the ones you get at a Turkish restaurant. Um, but yeah, I'd say that that's my favorite kind of food. Love a good burrito and Mexican food as well.
Mm.
But yeah,
All right, you like a variety of things. You like all types of food. Favorite
yeah.
music?
Oh, I'm very into pop. A lot of female pop stars, really. But I wouldn't say I have a specific genre. I just listen to a lot of different variety, but more drawn into pop music. I like Turkish pop as well. Love my Turkish music. But yeah, if I would say favorite singers, it would be Lady Gaga, Billie Eilish, um, Demi Lovato, Ariana Grande, just ones who have like really powerful, like female powerhouses. I love a lot of that. I love a lot of pop music. But I don't discriminate. I love all music, to be honest.
Mm.
Love my Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B. I think if you notice, I'm drawn to a lot of females because obviously I've been raised by
Mm.
females most of my life. I've been surrounded by females.
There's that psychology coming in. Yes.
Yes, and I think maybe that's why I'm drawn towards females because I think they're very empathetic, understanding, and compassionate. And just I'd like to not all women, but that motherly role. But I'm careful with my words because I don't think everyone would like to be um, called that. But yeah, like I just I just think being because I've been raised around a lot of females, I'm just more drawn. And like most of my friends, if not all of them, have been females. And I just think because it's just maybe, yeah, I think just naturally because
Mm.
that's just all I've seen,
Mm.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely understand that. My mom, very empathetic lady, very caring. So I definitely can relate to that as well. I don't have any sisters, but I do know, yes, women are amazing people.
Yeah, for sure.
um, Favorite TV shows or books or movies? Any of those, or maybe all.
I TV shows I watch a lot of Turkish dramas, so I'm just really into those ones. Turkish dramas are all about love and just like endless, endless love stories. So I was just raised watching Turkish dramas all the time. Um, Film wise, I would say Disney Pixar's Ratatouille, because
Mm,
I love food and cooking a lot.
yeah, I like that movie
Obviously
too.
before it's good, isn't it? Before I was able to cook when I was able to walk, I was able to help in the kitchen, but now obviously I can't. But I usually tell my mom what to do, and I watch a lot of cooking programs, so I help with cooking a lot. So yeah, Disney Pixar's Ratatouille, Avatar, the blue one, the blue Avatar, not the Avatar Last Airbender,
Yeah.
the one on Pandora, which I really love. And obviously, I'm drawn to that because there's a character in a wheelchair, and just when he enters the Avatar body, he can start walking and stuff. I felt free. I feel free when I watch that, and I feel like it's a nice thing. And I think a lot of disabled people can really relate to that. Because a lot of people with Duchenne. We have walked for some of our life, um, and I think losing that really does. It's difficult. And I think there will always be a part of me longing for that part of me, but obviously I'm not going to have that part of me. It's gone forever. But I think that's why I was drawn to Avatar. I think it's a very empowering film. What else do I like? Um, yeah, those two are like my favorite films, but I love a lot of Disney Pixar. And favorite books. There's a book called The Choice by an Auschwitz survivor who became a clinical psychologist and talks about her trauma and healing from that. So I was really drawn to that book, and I really like that. It's my favorite. It's by a woman called Edith Eger, Dr. Eger, Edith Eger, who I think lives in America. And yeah, that's one of my favorite books. I love that. Don't remember anything else off the top of my head right now, but yeah, those are some of my favorites.
Okay, okay, all right. Do you have any? You kind of mentioned earlier, one of your dreams being on Vogue. Do you have any other goals or dreams in life?
Elijah, before we get onto that, can I quickly just go to the bathroom if that's all right?
Sure. Yeah, take a break.
Okay.
All right, so we're back from a break. So let's get right back into it. So you said that you have some goals in life, some dreams, right? What would those consist of?
So I would say one of my biggest ones is to enter the fashion industry as a disabled model, and that's one of my biggest dreams because I think so we got Gillian and Aaron Phillips, but they're both female representation. So I think we need more male representation as well in the fashion industry, especially because the beauty standards for men are much, I would say, not much more, but they're quite high. They expect you to have like chiseled abs and just to look perfect, and it's a lot of pressure. So I think we need more disabled models to, a more disabled representation because a lot of clothes aren't designed for seated positions, and I think there's a lot of disabled people who are into fashion. And I'm personally really into fashion, especially luxury fashion. Obviously, I can't afford it at the moment, but hopefully in the future. But yeah, so I really want to become a disabled fashion model, eventually a supermodel. So like an international, obviously supermodels are more international. Instead, I don't want to just be like a little freelance model because I think we need more supermodels because Gillian and Aaron Phillips are technically like supermodels, I would say, because Gillian is signed to IMG Models and she's been doing a lot of good things. So yeah, that's one of my biggest goals, and obviously to finish my master's degree in psychology. And I'm not sure if I want to do something mental health related. We'll see. Obviously, we're in a global pandemic, so plans change, things change, and I'm trying to just get through my master's degree first, hopefully do my graduation ceremonies, because I didn't do my graduation ceremony for my psychology degree, which finished June 2020. But obviously pandemic restrictions couldn't do it. So, I want to get those done. I've actually got a car which has been adapted with joysticks. So I want to finish my driving lessons and get my license. I think those are very big goals. And yeah, I have a lot of stuff. I want to do things alongside music, along the music industry as well. I want my own album. I obviously would like to have vocal lessons and stuff before all of that anyway. But that's something I'm really passionate about because I've been through so many difficult things, and I think I really like writing, and I think I would be very interested in songwriting and stuff like that. I want my own book so I can talk about my struggles in more detail because I think I've gone through so much. I forgot to mention I had pneumonia in 2018, and obviously with Duchenne, not a good combination. I wasn't on a ventilator before that, but now I have a nighttime BiPAP ventilator as a result of that, and I have a cough assist machine. But yeah, so when I had pneumonia, my lungs collapsed, so I had to be put on a ventilator. So I had to be intubated in intensive care for 2 weeks, and I almost lost my life to it because it was that serious. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that, but I think it would be very important for me to talk about these things because a lot of my PTSD symptoms come from staying at intensive care as well, because that in itself is very traumatic, So yeah, writing my own book. Amongst other things, I have so many plans and goals. I don't know how much of them I'll be able to do, but hopefully I can do most of them. But yeah, those are some of my goals and aspirations, and we'll see what life brings.
Mhm.
Keep your
Awesome.
head up high.
Yeah, you have a lot of ambitious goals that you want to accomplish. I like that. I like that a lot. I think that gives you motivation and energy and purpose when you stay ambitious.
Hmm.
So that's good. Let's move into the Shin now in particular. We kind of covered it in and out, but let's cover it explicitly. So how does Destroy Duchenne, the organization, how does that make you feel?
I think it's great, and we need to advocate for Duchenne because at the end of the day, life can be great with Duchenne, but it is a devastating illness, and there are so many lives lost every single year um, to this devastating condition. And I think, we've got a lot of exciting developments. That's gene therapy and exon skipping. Um, and, I think potentially it is curable and treatable. And I think we just need more funding because I know how expensive it is. And if only we had the funding and the interest like the COVID-19 vaccine, Duchenne would be cured in very quickly. Um, and I think maybe it's a bit too late for me, but well, we never know. You know, the medical advancements are so amazing these days. So maybe it might not be. We'll see in the future. I'm currently waiting for the FDA to approve that gene therapy because with the mRNA and obviously with the COVID-19 vaccine, the Pfizer one, which works with mRNA, is um, very exciting stuff. And the Oxford AstraZeneca one is with an adenovirus, a harmless one, and the
Mhm,
gene therapy works with that adenovirus and not having side effects to the Oxford vaccine. It kind of gives me hope because I think if I'm okay with that, hopefully, if the gene therapy is approved, it might help. But I think it's amazing, Destroy Duchenne, and what you do, and you've even met with Sarepta, who's doing a lot of stuff for Duchenne. So I think it's amazing, and keep going and doing what you're doing because we need more advocacy and more our voices to be heard
mhm,
because it is something that needs to be talked about. And I think with a lot more attention, we can work towards curing and saving so many men's and sometimes females' lives.
mhm. Yeah, definitely, definitely. And really, that's one of the main goals. Is I totally agree with you. If we have the funding, I believe that we can cure this disease really quickly, right?
Mhm.
When it comes to gene editing or gene therapy, I'll just speak briefly on this because I get very passionate about it. I could talk about this for
Same.
years.
Mhm.
But we really need to just develop better vectors. And so, like, you're mentioning some of the stuff that we're trying to use now and how you responded to it, because, one of the worries is the immune response that patients with Duchenne will have to these viruses or these other vectors that we're trying to use. But once we develop, better vectors, they will it will help advance gene therapy or gene editing for patients with Duchenne. And that's really exciting. And that's why the official slogan of Destroy Duchenne is complete the cure, right? It's not find the cure, but it's complete the cure because I want people to know that this isn't something we have no idea how to do, but it's something that we're on the verge of doing. And we just need to make that final push to complete the cure, right? Um, so it's a really exciting time to be alive, and I'm really hoping that we can create so much interest, so much awareness for this disease that the funding will just come in to destroy the Shin, and then we can help advance scientists and their studies. So I'm
For
excited
sure.
about that. Um, what do you think that you would be doing right now if you didn't have Duchenne?
Ooh, a lot of things. I think I was really into cooking and dance, so I would have been doing a lot of things related to dance and cooking, and I would have um, done more about on the music side. There's so many things that I want to do, and I know that I can do it myself, but obviously physically I can't do it. I have to rely on other people. But I think if I didn't have Duchenne, I would do everything myself, and I would just be so productive. I think a lot of my mental health things that are related to mental health wouldn't have been there to this degree I think I would just have been doing so many other things. But it is what it is. I've got Duchenne, and the best thing I'm doing is to try to do the best I can with what I can do, and not let it stop me, because it isn't something that will stop you. Having a disability doesn't stop you from being able to do your dreams and aspirations and many things that other people do. We just do it a bit differently, but we can do it, and and I'm not going to let it stop me. But I'm more, I would say, if I didn't have Duchenne, I would be able to do things easier, and it would just make life easier. Do you get what I mean? So
Yeah.
many things would just be so much easier. Um, and yeah, that's what I would say, really.
I think that's a great attitude, and I couldn't agree more with you. Um, just because you have a Shin or you have some type of obstacle in your life, right? That doesn't mean that you can't still accomplish something. You may just have to do it differently, but at the end of the day, you could still do it, and that's what's important. And I really try to use the Shin and my disability in my story, if you will, to show that to other people that are going through adversity, because everybody's going through adversity. It's just different. Some may be financial, some may be like mental health, some may be physical health, whatever it may be. Someone's going through something, and I really think that the cool thing about the Shin, if if this is cool, but it's a positive way to view it, is the wheelchair is a symbol of the suffering, a symbol of the adversity. It's visible, right? Mental health, it's sometimes harder to see, right? You don't know if someone's going through something or not sometimes, right? But that's what's cool about the wheelchair. And so we really have a chance every day to inspire others and to show them that, yes, I have adversity, but I'm still getting through it. I'm still happy. I'm still living life to the fullest, right?
Hmm.
Um, when you lost your ability to walk, right? How did that make you feel?
Oh, extremely resentful and very angry. I would say I hated it. I didn't want to lose my ability to walk. It took me a while to accept it, and I think that's why I started self-harming. I was taking out on myself because I was punishing myself. Obviously, I was a child, so I was like 13, 14 when it first started, when I lost my ability to walk, and the self-harm addiction started um, around that age. It was just starting. So I would say I was very angry, and it took me a while to accept it. And even now, sometimes I struggle. Um, Sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I was able to walk. And I think I will always be like that. I think part of me will always long for it, but I'm able to cope with it better. And I'm learning to love myself, and I've found healthier ways, and I'm putting my mental health first. I'm starting medication. I'm healing. I'm taking that step towards healing from my trauma. And I think everyone's different and processes things different. But I would say it hasn't been easy. It never has been easy. And like I said, I'm still struggling now. But I'm just trying to make the best out of my situation, because I know that we're just flesh suits on a floating rock, and eventually we're going to return to soil, and it's not worth sitting and sulking and being depressed and just complaining and crying about it, because it doesn't help. Like, no matter how angry and how resentful I am, all it does is it's like holding a burning coal. I'm burning, and I'm just burning myself. And I think I'm finally able to let go of that coal and forgive myself and love myself, because I deserve, and we all deserve, to love ourselves, because self-love is the best love, because at the end of the day all we got is ourselves. And at the end of the day, when we do pass, we're going to be on our own. We were born alone, and we all, as hard as it is, it's a painful pill to swallow. We're all going to die alone as well. And I think, the best thing we can do is to just accept ourselves and make the best out of what all the days we have, because, we're not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. I've got Duchenne, and I don't have a huge life expectancy. Maybe in the future, that might change. But at the moment, I don't really have a big life expectancy. Like, so, I want to make the most out of my final years, if that makes sense, because, once you lose your ability to walk, I think that's when Duchenne starts working its way up, because it starts from your legs and, it works its way up. So I'm like, you know what, with whatever I've got now, I might as well live it, and I think being in intensive care kind of flipped that switch for me, because before I wasn't like this. I wasn't as and my mindset wasn't like that, but it shifted. And I think people's mindsets shift all the time. We always change. We learn new facts. We're in an argument, we are presented with new facts, we change our opinion. And that's okay. It's okay to do that. It's okay to change. I do think people can change. Not everyone, but I'm one of those people who, I change a lot. I change constantly. Every day is a new day. I think every day is a new opportunity, and life is a journey. And I'm trying to enjoy that journey and embrace every single thing that comes with it. All the negative emotions, all the positive emotions. Feel it all and enjoy your life, because why not? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why be depressed and miserable when you can just enjoy life, because it is beautiful. The world is a beautiful place. I think us humans, we just don't always appreciate it, or we don't always make it easy. Um, and I think we're like our worst critics. And I think we need to just give ourselves love and love ourselves and give love to ourselves, because once you love yourself, you're able to spread that to other people. And it's just contagious. It just spreads like a wildfire. And I think we need more love in this world. Right now, the world is going through so much hurt and pain, especially through pandemic. And I think we just need more love and direct it towards ourselves and to others. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's a good mindset to have. I
Thank
think
you.
you're right when it comes to that. What do you think then when you lost your ability with your arms, when you started to experience muscle weakness in your arms? How did that affect you? Did it affect you the same as losing your ability to walk, or?
I say it is harder, and every day um, it gets harder to do some things. And I think um, mm, uh, I find it hard. If I'm honest, I find it hard, and it's more of a difficult pill to swallow. But because it's so gradual, I think you get used to it. Every ability you lose, especially with Duchenne, that from childhood to now, I think I've always had the time to process it, and I'm able to cope with it better. And because I've been through so much, and I've seen I've seen it all, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's nothing new. This is expected. I think it's a hard pill to swallow, but I'm trying my best. But it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be angry sometimes, and it's okay to be positive sometimes as well. It's important to feel every emotion, because every time you suppress an emotion, it will come back, but it will come back mightier. And I think, especially with my mental health journey, I'm kind of learning that, and I've learned that the hard way. But it is what it is. I can't do anything about it, and I think it's it's like a grieving process, because at the end of the day, it is a loss, and you do grieve. But I'm trying my best to deal with it. Got my mum and my sister who's very supportive, and I'm being more open with my mental health and stuff. So I think ultimately, I'm just gonna have to learn to cope with it, and I'm getting better every day. Um, it's a journey, but I think it's hard for everyone who would have to go through it. You know what I mean? It's not easy stuff. But I adjust very quickly to the new changes, and my mum is helpful, and helps me. And sometimes I'm like, I'm tired, I need a bit of help, extra support, so I can ask for it when I need it. And yeah, I'm just learning to deal with it, but it's not easy.
Mhm. I agree. I think it's harder. Uh, I think that if the shin just took away your ability to walk, but your arms are fine, your heart and lungs would be fine, you could live long. and wouldn't be that bad, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
But
definitely. That's what I say all the time. My
yeah,
mom says that as well, but
the fact that it keeps getting worse and slowly, it kind of teases you, and I think
yeah.
that's why it's so cruel.
Mm,
That it's, okay, it lets you experience walking and then takes it away. Lets you experience using your
mm,
arms and takes it away. Lets you experience life and you're starting your career and you're starting and then takes it away. And it's like, that's why it's so terrible and that's why we have to cure it. But
mhm.
about death, right? We mentioned this a little bit, and I like your attitude on it. But when you think explicitly about the early death rates with Duchenne, what comes to mind? What do you feel?
The thing is, so obviously I almost died from pneumonia. So when I first came out of the hospital, I was so traumatized and I was so afraid. I had really bad death anxiety, and I think I was like getting a lot of health anxiety as well. So I was just googling symptoms all the time, and I think it took some time for me to process um, the thought that I almost was going to lose my life, and I think I'm scared of death. It's a scary thing for me. Not everyone is scared, but I'm scared of it. But I think it's inevitable. Everyone is going to experience death, and there's nothing we can do about it. And I think I try not to think about it too much. Yeah, it's important to you know know that that's going to happen, but I think I try to live my life in the moment as best as I can, and not think of that possibility. I think it's important to set goals and dreams and aspirations and try to do as much as you can, and whatever you're blessed with, that's just life. And I think the best thing we can do is just make the most out of it and not worry about it, because it's not as bad as people think it is. When I was sedated and put to sleep, and I was on a ventilator, I was on life support for 2 weeks. It was very, it's a very peaceful state to be. I know it's not the same as death, but it's kind of very similar in a sense, because you're not breathing on your own and a machine is breathing for you. So it's very similar, and I kind of got a glimpse of it, and I think it's not as bad when you're asleep. I think it's the process, the process into the state of unconsciousness. um that's the bit where it's a bit scary, because obviously everyone loses their life differently. But I think the inevitable truth about Duchenne is it's respiratory failure or heart failure. A lot of people have their heart stuff under control because they see like the cardiac doctors, and there's a lot of medications like that you can take which can help with cardiomyopathy, which I have. But I think knowing that I can lose my life like I almost did with pneumonia, it's very scary for me, because um, it's like, when you swim and you go under the water and you gasp for air and you need to get out, and you do get out, but that feeling, it's very uncomfortable. That's what it's like. But except you can't get out, and because obviously my lung collapsed, so that meant I wasn't getting enough oxygen in. My carbon dioxide went dangerously high, and in that state you panic and your heart rate goes through the roof, and because your body is struggling to breathe and it's fighting so hard, and they give you adrenaline shot, and it's like really crazy. And then eventually, so I'm just remembering how it all went, and then they I had an IV cannula, so they put the medication in, and then I was just like, when they said we're going to put you to sleep, I was like, oh my god, put me to sleep, I can't wait, because I was so exhausted. And then when I did, it was such a peaceful state of tranquility, and it was just so calm, and everywhere was white and blank, and it was just in such peace. And I think, just I think my fear is the transition a lot, and obviously, my dad, his heroin overdose, he could have lost his life as well, and I think, like I said, it's inevitable, and we will all everyone will have that fear. I think everyone has some form of fear of dying, but like I said, it's inevitable. But obviously, with Duchenne, it's a bit more difficult than normal people because it is a life-threatening condition, and seeing so many people with Duchenne lose their lives, it is heartbreaking and it's difficult. Um, but like I said, it's something inevitable, um, and I think it's important to talk about it and tell people what you're feeling and your fears and worries, but just know that we're not alone and everyone is going to go through it. And I think nobody is alone in what they feel about the inevitable, son death. I mean, life. I mean, I got tongue twister. Sorry. Last parts of their life. I said son, which means last in Turkish.
Mm.
Sorry, I just changed into Turkish. But yeah, their last moments in life, I think, is something that everybody fears, especially in a pandemic and with COVID. Oh, it's so hard, and COVID causes pneumonia, so I think that puts a lot of fear in me as well. But at least I've got my first shot of the vaccine, and just knowing that you managed to get through it, that's given me a bit of hope. And I think part of that is with the good medications and the good, the good support we have.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm so so briefly. I mean, that was powerful. I don't even know what to say. That was very powerful. It's probably to be honest with you, to be quite frank, it's probably the greatest illustration or articulation of
thank you.
how Duchenne can make. I mean, the fear that Duchenne causes when it comes to death. Um, Even got me a little nervous. I was going, wow. You're talking about being underwater and you can't breathe. I'm like, oh no.
You'll
Um,
be fine, honestly. You'll be fine.
Hopefully. But my brother Max, who passed away when he was 14, he actually had pneumonia and parainfluenza actually, and so his lung actually was paralyzed, and so he was sedated and he did all that stuff too. And I mean, I don't know what it was like being him, but I know what it was like watching him, and so I just I can kind of relate to you in the sense. I mean that I'm familiar with this stuff, and yeah, it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing for sure. Respiratory issues are not fun.
I'm so
Uh,
sorry for your loss, Elijah. Lots of love to you.
Thank you, thank you. Um, but yeah, so I've seen what it does to the death of a child does to your parents and siblings and all of that. But on a positive note, what do you think? Do you think that Duchenne has made you a better person?
Mm, it has taught me a lot. So I would say that. And from those life lessons, I've learned how to be more strong, patient, and resilient. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't say it's a positive thing, but I would say it's taught me a lot and helped shape who I am. And I think if I didn't have it, I would be a very different person. Don't know how I would have been. Nobody would know. Nobody could say. But I think there has been things not from Duchenne, but like as a result of having Duchenne, it's given me the chances to do a lot of things that I wouldn't have done if I wasn't with Duchenne. So I've made a wish with Make a Wish. So I swam with dolphins, and I went to Disney World in Florida, which was something I'd done as a result of Duchenne. That's something positive, um, I would say. But yeah, it has its positives and negatives, I would say,
Mhm.
but it's taught me a lot.
What do you hate most about Duchenne?
The way it takes your life away. And I think it doesn't hurt. Death doesn't hurt, especially with respiratory failure. Because I think I hope if I ever have to, when it comes to that time, I hope it will be when I'm in. I hope it won't be like home. In a sense, I would rather be in intensive care and have the sedation when I'm, well, obviously, if you're not, if you're struggling to breathe and all of that, you will be in intensive care anyway. But I think I would want to be, if it makes sense, but like I would want to be, you know, sedated when that's happening, because um, I think when you're sedated, you don't notice anything, but the transition from you know struggling to breathe and then being put to sleep is very difficult. But um, it might not be from lung failure; it could be from cardiac failure. But let's just hope. Let's keep positive and just hope that the what's it called, gene therapy is approved by then, or some sort of miraculous breakthrough. As inevitable as that is, let's keep our heads up high, because you never know. It might not be Duchenne. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it
Um,
could be something. Car
there's a
accident.
high likelihood of Duchenne, but it could be anything.
Car
So
accident. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So let's keep our heads up high.
Yeah, no, I love that attitude. Keep your head up for sure. You have
Mhm.
to. There's no point, like we talked about throughout this
Yeah,
whole podcast, there's no point of being negative and focusing on the bad. That
for
doesn't do
sure.
anything. It's like
Yeah,
holding the hot coal.
sure.
What's the point? What's the point? You're just gonna get burnt.
But it's important to discuss these things, because I think
Yes. The
it's
the world needs to know this. The world needs to know this
yeah,
because then they'll see why we need to cure this disease, right? And something else too, it's even if you and I unfortunately we don't get cured, um, at least the work we're doing, at least this podcast, maybe will help future generations, future kids that will have this disease not have to experience this tragic death, right? So um, that's what encourages me a lot. What do you want? What do you want others to understand about the Shin? If there's one thing that you would want them to know, right? What would you want people to know about the Shin?
I would say it is to be supportive, be there for them and check up on them, and to make everything accessible and to not exclude them, and to find a way to include them in everything, and give them the opportunities. And I would say anyone who's friends with somebody with Duchenne, I think it's to be there for them and understand the things that come with the disability with Duchenne, and know that it's difficult, but we want to do everything just like everyone else, and we want to be included. And I think that's something that people need to know, and they need to know the inevitable truth of what will eventually happen, because I think it's a subject that we avoid talking about and a lot of people don't know. And I think it is that people should make the most out of the time with those with Duchenne, because 1 minute they're there and the 1 minute they're gone. And when they are gone, if you haven't made the most of that time, I think it will be something that you will struggle with, because you will. I think a lot of people will miss that person, or um, may regret potentially the times that they missed with them. And I think a lot of people should know that if you know somebody with Duchenne, make the most out of the time you have with them, make those memories, take those photos, spend time with them, and talk to them, because I think people in my life not often I think take it for granted. And I think some of my loved ones, if any of them are watching this, I think some of them need to. I'm not saying any names, but I think people need to. I have a lot of support, and they are there for me all the time. But I think, I'm surrounded by love and positivity, and I've got so much support. But I think, sometimes we do need some extra support, or sometimes, we do struggle, especially with the Duchenne aspect. And, I think it's important to give more time towards your loved ones. And, even if it's just a phone call, or like 1 minute of your day, to just check up on them and say, are you okay? Do you need any support? Are you struggling with anything? Do you need help? I think those are important things. But yeah, ultimately it is to give more time and make sure that you make their world as accessible as possible. And show them that they can do anything they want, and Duchenne isn't a barrier,
Mm,
and you can do anything you want as long as you have the support
yes.
around you.
Something that I've noticed from interviewing people with Deshin is that Deshin has made them a problem solver. And so I was wondering if that is the same for you. How's Deshin made you more of a problem solver? Is it a skill that Deshin has taught you how to, solve problems?
For sure, and I think a lot of the time, a lot of people come to me when they have, when they're going through something, and I'm a really good listener, and I'm always there for a lot of people, and I think that's something that has come from Duchenne as well. Every time you lose an ability to do something, you have to find your way around and navigate your way around things. And you, with Duchenne, you have to learn constantly. It's always a learning curve every day, especially with your carers as well. Like with my mum, we had to find a lot of ways of getting around things. You know what I mean? Like whether that's using the toilet, putting clothes on. It constantly changes, and it's a learning curve. And I think before I had hoists, my mum used to lift me and transfer me. That took a while to learn. So yeah, I think naturally you're kind of forced to become that problem solver, and then over time it just becomes a habit. And I think, yeah, it definitely, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely think I 100% agree. It forces you to become a problem solver. You have no choice. You have to problem solve for survival, basically.
Yeah.
Um, amazing, amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. With that being said, those are all the questions that I have. So, is there anything that you would like to discuss now? The table's yours.
I want to ask you something. So, what are your plans? What are your I know that's a huge question to ask anybody, but like, what are you aiming to get from your life? And what are you aiming to do? Do you get what I mean? Like, what's your future?
Yeah,
Um,
that's an interesting question because I was thinking about that earlier today, and I was actually thinking about the short lifespan of Deshin before doing this interview. Really, what I want is I want to make sure that I live an impactful life, whether I die when I'm 20 or I die when I'm 30 or 100, whatever. I want to know that my life had impact on other people's lives, and that I did everything in my control to make that impact. I know that might sound vague, but really what gives me the greatest fulfillment is helping other people. And it sounds like you have the same thing there. Like, if someone calls me and I can help them with a problem in their life, whether they're going through some type of suffering or whatever, and I can encourage them to get them back on their feet. Um, I feel really fulfilled that day. I feel like it was a productive day. It feels like it had meaning. So that's, I guess, the bigger umbrella. But I guess in practical terms, I really want to cure Duchenne. I really want to play a contribution to that. I want to make this disease mainstream and known. And I think that's necessary in order to raise the money to cure it. I really want to advance medical science. It's not just Duchenne that I'm interested in. It's all genetic diseases. I care for everybody, whether that's cancer, whether that's, um, any type of genetic disease or whatever. I want to help those people. And I think that, by advancing vectors, by advancing gene therapy, gene editing, right? I think that will help them. So I'm very happy about that. Um, and yeah, I just want to really influence people to just live a very productive life, to live a fulfilled life. And so I guess that's that. I think before I die, I would like to get married. I think that would be really cool.
hope you do.
Um, there's a
I hope you
lot of
find the right person.
yeah, yeah. Um, I get honestly, to be honest with you, there's a lot of things I want to do. And I don't know if this is even answering your question. Is this what you meant by your question or no?
Yeah, yeah, and I really hope you do get the chance to do everything that you want to, and I believe you will.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, and I hope the same for you as well. And I think that's why it's important that we cure the disease because then it gives us more time. I mean, like we said, we can die from anything, a car accident, whatever. But
Sure.
Right. The major difference is because whenever I talk about this, people instantly say, well, Elijah, you could die from anything. Well, that's true. That's true. Like, we all are going to die at some time. But the difference with Duchenne is we know for sure right now what something that is going to kill us is, right? We don't know if a car is going to hit us. It's possible, but we know for sure Duchenne, the way it's going, is going to lead it. And that's the major difference that I try to tell people. It's like, this is serious, you know, let's do something about it. And it's not that we can't, it's we can. There are things we can do. We can get this done. I really do believe that. Um, so yeah. Do you have any other questions?
I think those are great questions. I wanted to ask one more, but you don't have to answer this because I do know it can be very difficult. So obviously you've had a loss in your family to Duchenne. I wanted to kind of know how that's impacted you and how that makes you feel, and just how that's has that changed you as a person? Has that taught you anything? And obviously, if you don't want to answer it, it's fine because I know that it can be upsetting.
No, no, I'll answer. Yes, definitely, for sure. I think really what it's taught me, I don't know if I want to say the most because it's taught me a lot, but one thing that really sticks out to me is you know your parents love you, you know they care about you, and that's easy to say, but seeing how much they grieved when they lost one of their childs, my brother, it made me realize just how much a parent really does love their child, right? So that was one of the major things for me, and I guess the way it impacted me the most was just really seeing how sad my parents were. That's probably the hardest part for me. It was that is just seeing the pain because, to be quite honest with you, seeing my dad on stage during the funeral talk about my brother Max, um, it made me scared that I don't want him to have to do that for me, right? And that made me really sad, because I don't know, I just don't want him to have to do that for me. So it gave me great motivation to cure this disease even more. I mean, I'm already highly motivated, but seeing that it made me even more motivated. So that's really that. Yeah, there's a lot I could say
Yeah, I
on
got a
all
bit
this.
emotional. Sorry,
What would you say?
I got a bit emotional. I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. So that's all I could really. I mean, there's a lot I could say on that, but that's what really comes to mind as of right now when thinking about it.
Thank you so much for sharing that with me, and being so honest. I definitely understand. It's hard to talk about sometimes, and I think I'm just a very emotional person. But yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. I really appreciate that. And I would say, you are so strong, and so is your family. And I'm so sorry for your loss, and um, I wish you all the strength and resilience. But thank you for sharing that with us. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I would say that's all the questions I really have. Um, let's liven it up a bit. Let's not end it on a negative note,
Yeah.
bad note.
Um,
Um,
Yeah, so you know what? I guess I think the way I'll end this, which is quite interesting, is, um, what are you gonna do with the rest? Well, actually, it's 8 o'clock there. It's 8 o'clock there. What are you gonna do What are you gonna do tomorrow? Like, what's a typical day look like for you? Do you got any plans or stuff like that? What do you?
um, I have an essay due on the 10th of March.
Mm,
So I'm going to work on that. I haven't started it yet, but it's a reflective evaluation on the project I did. So I'll go through that really quickly. So yeah, I'm going to be working on that tomorrow. Probably make some TikToks. I do daily eat with me, so I do eat breakfast with me. It's like a 50, 60-second clip where I eat with people, and they can just watch me, and then I usually do that. So I'll probably do one of those. I usually make drafts and put them in TikTok drafts, and so probably post them. I do breathing exercises, positive self affirmations. I try to fit meditation. I do journaling at the end of my day, so I'll probably do that in a bit after I end this, and just review my day. Reflect on what I've gone through. What I've eaten, drinking, drank, my mood, and there's like a little reflection section, and like a bit where you can write what you're grateful for. So I like to write at least three things that I'm grateful for at the end of the day. So I'll do that in a bit. But yeah, I'll do that tomorrow as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just need to go through my assignments. I've got no one due on the 17th of March. And yeah, so I'm just trying to get through all of that right now. And yeah, that's basically what I'm going to do tomorrow. Not a very interesting day, but
Productive though,
what are
productive.
you planning to do tomorrow? Let's ask you.
Well, I'm gonna go to church. I'm going to um so speaking of speaking of marriage, I'm gonna hang out with my girlfriend.
Oh, you've got a girlfriend. Very
I,
happy for you.
I do. Such a blessing. She's so amazing, so supportive, so caring. Um so I'm gonna hang out with her. I'm gonna do a lot of stuff for Destroy Duchenne. I gotta edit some content, put it together. Um and just all that good stuff. That's really what I'm gonna do. Probably go, eat with my family and whatever, and do all that and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's really what I'm planning on doing tomorrow. Um, so I think I'm
Oh,
gonna,
that's so nice to know that you've got somebody there who loves and supports you for who you are. That's really made me happy. So
yeah,
thank you for sharing that. I didn't know.
yeah,
Um,
she's great. She's great. I love her so much. But I
Great
think
for you.
because of you, I'm gonna get back into TikTok and really try and go hard there. Um,
Definitely do it. There's a whole world out there, and I think you'd be very appreciated. We love your motivational talk, and I think you'll be good.
yeah, so I actually funny story. So I made a TikTok, right? And it went viral. It went super, super viral. And all the comments, I can't even make this up. Basically, like nearly all the comments were, "You're in a wheelchair. You're in a wheelchair. You're in a wheelchair." And I was like,
You will get hate comments. There are people who will do that. Just ignore them. Just do what you want to
"Yeah,
do, and
no." I was just like, I mean, I don't understand. Like, I honestly don't understand why someone feels the need, um, to
you will
spend,
get the ableist comments.
yeah, to put like 5 seconds in to write that. I mean, it's obvious I'm in a wheelchair. Like, I don't, I'm showing you the wheelchair. Like, I don't know what the point of this is, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's about, but yeah, TikTok is it's a very polarizing place. It's very positive and very hateful at the same time. So
Just bear that in mind, Elijah. When you do go on TikTok, there will be the negative comments. Just ignore that. Just focus on the positive, and that's inevitable. And I've seen it all. So
yeah.
it's not easy to be on TikTok. It's difficult, but I think you will be able to do it. You seem like a very strong and resilient man. So I think and if it does get too much, you can always just take a break and take a step back. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So I think I'll probably look into that and maybe do that. But yeah. So that being said, that's all I have to say. I don't know if you have anything else to say. And if do you?
Yeah, so I was just going to say thank you so much for having me. It's been a very deep, heart-to-heart conversation. It was really nice to get to know you and learn
Yeah.
more about each other's story. And I think we both got a very powerful story. And I would love to do another podcast if you ever would like to. And yeah, thank you for having me. Very humbled, very grateful, very
Mm,
appreciative. And it was lovely to know you. And I think you're a very great man, and I think you're very motivational and inspirational. And yeah, I would say thank you. And
thank you.
I really enjoyed it. It was very nice to
Thank,
have this heart-to-heart conversation. Did get a bit emotional at some times, but it's okay. I think it was very important things we talked about, and I hope this podcast will be very helpful and will inspire people and
mhm.
educate people, and people will learn more about the devastating aspects and the realities of Duchenne, because we need to talk about it because we don't talk about it often, and I think people need to know.
Mhm.
But yeah, thank you so much, Elijah.
And thank you for coming on. I can say all the same things about you. And so you're very inspiring as well. You definitely have a story. You definitely have experienced real life, real adversity, real suffering, real tough stuff. And so I really like your perspective on things and your attitude. And so I really appreciate that as well. Um, to end the podcast, the way we end the podcast is we say our official slogan, which is complete the cure. So on a count of three, we're both going to say complete the cure. All right.
Wait, can I say one more thing?
Go ahead.
Um,
Say it.
I was going to say, do check out my TikTok if you want to see more on mental health and anything else. But yeah, what was the slogan again?
Oh, wait. What's your TikTok? What's
um, at Deniz Eskisan. Same for my TikTok and same for my Instagram. And my website, if you want to see my work on mental health, I talk about my story a lot more on there. DenizEskisan.com. If you want to, you don't have to. But I just thought I'd mention it if you want, if you are interested.
yeah,
Anyone
definitely,
watching it?
definitely. Yeah. So the slogan is complete the cure. Complete the cure.
Okay.
All right.
You too then.
3, 2, 1. Complete the cure.
Complete cure.
All right. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening to the Destroy Duchenne podcast. If you'd like to learn more or listen to other stories about Duchenne muscular dystrophy, you can go to destroyduchenne.org. DestroyDuchenne.org. Duchenne is spelled DuChenne. DestroyDuchenne.org. And you can go there. If you'd like to contribute or help out this cause, you can make a donation. Any amount helps, and we would greatly appreciate that. Our mission is to complete the cure for Duchenne muscular dystrophy by advancing gene editing and gene therapy into human practice. So, if you'd like to help out, we'd greatly appreciate that. But thank you so much for listening, and stay tuned for more podcasts.